Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Welcome to this week's Loose Slings. Join us as we are back after a week off. Sorry about last week, we will explain. But join us as a panel of four discuss this week's news, all on this week's Loose Slings. Welcome to the Loose Slings. Joining me on the panel this week, Nicholas James, is the one and only Claire Brown in May. The person that stepped in is Kerry Gillespie. And our final person is the queen of loose herself. That's Rachel Penny. As we share this week's bloody heat wave and how we've survived it, but the UK is still going downhill every time we have extreme weather. Are we always running behind? Also, we talk about a bride that turns into a bridezilla and their parents decide not to pay for the wedding anymore. But is it old-fashioned to expect your parents to pay for a wedding? And we finish on the subject of a young mum taking her child to the prom as her date. But are young people still looked upon badly when it comes to having children early? All that on tonight's show. Good evening, panel!
Good evening.
Hi! Good evening, how are we all doing? Oh my word, isn't it sweltering?
Oh, so
Absolutely ridiculous. I'm wearing absolutely nothing underneath this t-shirt. I am really, don't panic. I am really.
Information.
I am really, honestly, I am. Let's start with last week. There was only one poll, not last week, the week before. So we'll just read it out to you quickly and then we'll share the stuff that's been shared on our page over the last 2 weeks. So the poll that we had was going back. Our page has just come massively alive with adverts and stuff like that. It's amazing. It's really good to see it. Do you think saying, like, go back to your own country should be part of hate crime nowadays? 100% of you said yes. 100% said actually sayings like that should be part of hate crime. So thank you for joining in our polls. Zoe Anderson has shared what the group like this, the J3M group again. Go and have a look at that. Also, Eden Links have been sharing domestic abuse. Are you worried about your relationship? 24-hour National Domestic Abuse Helpline. If you are suffering out there, go and have a look, or just if you're interested to know a little bit more, go and have a look as well. There's a Heart Zone Park event on Friday the 29th of July at 11 o'clock. Angie Thornton has shared that event, so go and have a look at that. Electricals and the Age UK South Links, they've shared some stuff on our page this week. The Julie Lee has shared Bridge Community venue for donations and stuff like that. So just go and have a look at our page because it's full of stuff this week. But let's get on with this week's show as we do. Sorry for last week. There was a bit of technical issues and then my internet went down and it was just crazy. So we never had a show last week. But we're back up and running. But please come and join us next week where all four of us, should be on the show. Kerry Gillespie should be on the show because it's our final show. It's our final party. The end of series 3, ladies.
Woo!
The end of series 3, over 100 episodes we've done now. How amazing in that is in 3 years. Kerry, you've stuck with us for 3 years, love. 3 years you've stuck with us.
Pay me well. You pay me well.
Right, this week the UK has gone into meltdown because of the heat. Schools in Lincolnshire closing, bin men's changing the dates to collect your bins, all because of the heat wave. Ladies, do you think we are rubbish in the UK when it comes to extreme weather? Are we just not prepared for it?
Oh, we know it's coming, don't we? They've been telling us this is going to be coming, global change as well. So they should have something in place, you know, for like other countries to say, yes, hot countries, we go on holiday. We book to go on holiday to get temperatures like this. But it's a little bit different heat. But the thing is, people work differently there. They don't work in the afternoons when it's the highest of the heat. And so surely they could implement something to say, right, to this next week, it's going to be this hot. Change to summer schedule or something like that. Like it's like the snow as well. It's ridiculous. We're such fairies when it comes to weather. And I said that I'm a wilting one at the minute.
But the trouble is, we're not. England is known for rain. That's all we're all geared up for. But even then, we're not with all the not
Floods
the
and everything. Yeah.
dams like busting. But there is at the moment there is a lot in place for that. Can't think what's the word in when they have like things in place. Come on.
Preparation?
No, you know what I mean when they're doing things for rivers busting and things.
To be honest,
My brain's gone.
Anyway, the geriatric lot that's on tonight's show, you're the same as me. But you know what I mean? We're quite good at that now. We're getting into that. You know what? When this is finished, I'll remember. But we're not used to really hot weather. As in, like I say, this is all new to us. And we're not used to loads of snow. So, you know, when we get it, we do panic.
They should be able to implement some sort of strategy that to combat extreme weather if it and when it does happen.
Well, like schools, for instance, where I'm at, we've literally said no uniform, you know, normal clothes, as in they are wearing clothes. So normal uniform, any type of clothes that you feel comfortable in. And as a primary school, I would feel that your child will be more safer in school than with your adult. Because if you're at home, your child is at home, where are they going to be? Outside. They're going to be outside in the pool, which I'm not saying for every parent. You know, they will probably monitor them. Are they hydrated? Are they sun cream? Have they got a hat on? Well, today at school, because they knew that was the situation, we didn't go outside. You know, we shut all the blinds, we turned lights off, you could still see, and, you know, we interacted inside. Okay, we want to go out, but everywhere was air conditioned. We made sure that the children had the drink, they was with the friends, they had a nice meal, blah, blah, blah. But like I say, there was some children that didn't come to school, but then that's up to their parents, isn't it? You know,
a lot of schools here were stuck, weren't they, Nick?
But again,
yeah, there was a school in Lincolnshire. But Claire, I am going to shock you because there has been a story on Lincolnite this week. I'm not going to share which school it is. If you want to go and have a look, go and have a nosy. But there has been a school this week that has insisted that everybody still wears a blazer.
I can imagine which one.
Everybody still wears a blazer. So do you think that's more because the school want to advertise the school? But surely don't you think that's a little bit against human rights? That
totally.
You've got to wear a blazer to school.
Yeah, sorry, now going back to my daughter, who's a secondary school, who, oh my gosh, they are so intent on you wearing a blazer and tie. But no, an email came out. You can, Monday, Tuesday, especially with the heat being as it is, you don't have to wear a blazer. You don't have to wear a tie. And it's always been tights. You can wear ankle socks and the boys can wear shorts. Never heard of before. which my daughter's a bit miffed with because she's doing work experience at my school this week. So she has to be quite smart. But yeah, you know, I think that is a bit rough. Do you know what I mean?
My daughter went to one school in Lincoln, my son did as well, and they were told that they couldn't take their blazer off until a certain temperature. And this far exceeds that temperature, so they would be allowed to take them off now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's just ridiculous. But Kerry, do you think when we think about schools, as I say with Lucents, we go down many different directions of conversation. But do you think within schools it is important nowadays to wear a uniform? Do you think it's still important that children learn at a very young age that wearing a uniform to school is setting them up for the work life, or is it just a bit of a myth?
No, I like it. I
You
like
a
it.
uniform?
I wore a uniform. My kids have worn a uniform. My kids have gone to a pretty, I wouldn't say relaxed senior school, probably pretty strictish senior school. But yeah, I like my kids to look neat and tidy when they go into school and presentable. I just like it. It's a structured thing. I like it. I like it. I see some kids, you know, it's like senior school, not little kids, because they can get a little bit senior school. Kids going to school, my shirts hanging out and the ties off this side. And sometimes I just think I like, yeah, I ain't got OCD or anything. I just like that for the school. But
I get that.
That's my personal choice.
I get that in every day. But what about now, Kerry? You know, like today and tomorrow is supposed to be really.
Yeah. No, my youngest daughter's primary school, they said come in the PE kit, which they've done today. I'm happy with that. If a senior school said you can't, you've got to wear your blazer today and tomorrow, I wouldn't put my kids in school. I can just about managing my own house, and I'm absolutely boiling now. I was boiling this afternoon. That's unfit. My little one, even though she was in a PE kit, she still come out absolutely red-faced and boiling today. So I just wouldn't put them in. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say, no, get to school and wear your blazer and sweat it out. No, It's not fair. It's not fair.
Well, it's against human rights, isn't it? I just think, why are we setting people up to fail? Why are we saying
it's not setting them up to fail? That's the wrong saying, isn't it? It's not setting them up to
why would you insist in blazing hot weather? Like blazing hot weather. This is the highest the UK have been in for years and years and years. We're in the blood.
As long as the teachers were wearing a blazer as well all day, then it'd be a different thing. But the teachers don't.
No.
So if you're going to expect my child to do it yourself.
And when we come to uniform, if you think about it as well, when we come to uniform, what I don't understand is, so I get the structure of wearing a uniform. I do get that structure. It sets you up, work life, all of that. But what I can't get around in my head and what I don't understand is, and maybe you guys could talk about it, because I don't know if your children have gone through it or whatever, but when you hit sixth form is a very different kettle of fish when it comes to school. And what I don't understand is, so you have a structure of wearing a uniform all the way through your school life to set you up, but when you get to sixth form you can wear what you want.
So isn't it? It gives them a choice of being more grown up and being yourself, but all the way through with a uniform from primary school to when they're 16, 17. Then they're all equal. They don't have to compete with each other. You can make sure that the child, they're all equal when they come into school, and they learn rather than having to, compete with each other's fashions. And you can't be doing with that.
I think with the sixth form as well, to be honest, a lot of the schools aren't a case of wear what you want. A lot of the schools will be, if you're a girl, you've got to wear black skirt or black track. There's still some kind of structure. There's the clothes you got to wear. You can't turn up in your trackies and your trainers.
Can we still do that now, Carrie, with gender, because gender is massively big now. It's not just him and her anymore. It's not just he and she. There's quite a few people that's non-binary. There's people that are transgender. There are people. So can we still hit those olden day roles of school?
Yeah, you can. You're going to have to put some structure in place, otherwise the fucking world's the world's going to go absolutely tits up.
I'd just like to apologise for Kerry's language there.
It just winds me up, this kind of question, because it's like, what does everything else go to pot? Because, you know, or everything that's going on, a lot of people don't agree with all this gender stuff, but there's got to be some kind of structure. So yeah, it still has to be important, but it just has to be wear black. I don't care if you want to wear a frigging dress, a short, trousers, that's the colour you wear. End of. Why should other people get away with everything just because of something personally to them? It's not fair.
Totally agree with you, Kerry. No, like I say, I mean,
I'm not learn, don't you? That's what you're there for.
Yeah, I'm not, like I say, there is a lot of different sexualities out there, and personally, I don't know how, you know, they portray themselves or how they want us to see themselves. You know what I mean? So. But as Kerry says, if you know, I don't know how to put this politely, you know, your school's telling you to wear black, so wear black. And say if it's a skirt, you want to wear a skirt. If you're a man or woman or whatever.
I completely get that. I completely get that, and I completely get structure and colour and all of that. Okay,
so where are you going?
Would you disagree if? I don't know. Say that. Would you disagree if a woman came in a man's suit, and would you disagree if a man or a non-binary or whatever came in a skirt? Do you think that?
I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap if a non-binary wants to wear whatever. Sorry, too many gender things. It's too hot. I can't even think straight. I don't care, Nick. If you want to come on tonight as Loose Links in a dress and a little tiara, wouldn't bother me at all. That's your choice. As long as it was a colour that was part that we had to wear. It doesn't bother me what you do in your life, what you are, what you're seen as, what you want to be seen as. That's irrelevant. That doesn't even come into it. Winds me up a treat this
because everybody wants to be inclusive, and to be inclusive, if you go to school, then you should wear the colours of the school, whatever it is, as a dress, a skirt, a trousers, whatever. You know.
To be inclusive, you don't make a thing about you being different. Why should you? It's about a place of learning, not a place of wearing sexuality. If you want to go in a skirt, you go in a skirt. If that's what you are that day, if you're non-binary, what you can.
You know, they have a rules and regulations for a purpose. It's like nails. You don't have nail varnish on, or you don't have false nails. You know, and that's for everybody. So
and you're saying, you're not just that, Nick. Let's put this into perspective. Say a non-binary wants to get a job, and there's rules by the employer to behave a certain way, to not do this, to not do that, to do a job and a procedure, and that person goes, I'm not doing that now. That's against my whatever the word is. Really? Are they going to hold down a job? No, I'd sack them, and I'd sack them because why? Listen, it's a procedure. I want to run.
No, what I'm saying is, shall the old, you know, like now, like when pure example is when someone's preparing to have a baby nowadays. When someone prepares, we're still in the old-fashioned way, aren't we? Of boys is blue, girls is pink. Do you think that we need to? Open our horizons a little bit more now when it comes to stuff like that. Like the thing is, I sort of disagree, because the thing is, I disagree in the fact of that when I was, you won't be surprised at this, but when I was a kid, my sister Katie was the complete opposite to me. So my sister was into wrestling, my sister was into football, my sister was into playing on the park with the kids, all of that. I was at home playing dress up, playing this, that and the other. And actually, there are still people out there today that
Nick,
if you go into...
How can you have a baby shower? How can you have a baby shower?
No, I'm not.
You're just saying. But when you have a baby, how can you have a baby shower and be like, oh, my baby, pink for girls, blue for boys, purple for non-binary? You can't do that. It's boy or girl, and if that child grows up to feel different, and then supportive all the way. I'm sorry, pink. I'm not a lover of pink. Yeah, pink for girls, blue for boys, lemon for boy or girl. I have lemon for girl.
Say like, okay, let me give you an example. Say like one of your girls went into a shop when they were younger, and they wanted an Action Man. Would you disagree and go, no, I'm not buying you that because you're a girl and that's a boy's toy?
My daughter, I've got photos of my daughter dressed as Batman, Captain America, okay, and I've got them on my wall as well because I love it. I've got her dressed up as Goldilocks. I wouldn't stop my child from doing anything like that. I would never, and I don't think.
And that's all I'm trying to say.
Well, you should have asked that question at the very beginning, shouldn't you? Instead of mixing things up and getting me sweaty.
What happens to a child deciding what it wants to be anyway? Go through life, what they are.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, and if they decide to go down a different avenue, then that's when you get changed from blue to pink to blue.
Exactly. That's exactly what I agree with. Nicholas, you're winding me up tonight. You really are. It's too hot.
Oh, they could just be a rainbow.
It wasn't on there anyway. That wasn't, was it?
Let's go back to Claire. I've got something really funny to tell you, because every time you say it now, I'm sort of giggling in the car. But me and Rachel I'm sure she won't mind me telling you.
Don't you blame me for anything, Nick.
Me and Rachel were talking in the car the other day. We were talking about panelists, and we were just having like a bit of a giggle. And she says, "Do you know what Claire always says? Do you know what Claire's saying is?" And I went, "What's that?" She went, "Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?"
Don't say that, because if my mum watches this, she will be jumping at the screen and going, yes, that's what she always says. I can't help it. I can't, honestly. I try not to.
Kevin just gets on a high horse and off.
No, I just go, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I know I do. I know.
But ladies, do you think with this hot weather and cold weather and stuff like that we need to be thinking more sensibly for our children's generation when they're older and their generation and all of that? Do you think we need to be taking climate change into a bit more consideration than what we are doing right now?
Well, I think we are trying to do it. The little people are trying to do the best we can, but it has to be more authoritative, doesn't it? It has to be right up top. And so as little minions will follow suit, because you and I can do it throughout our household and try and be conscious and the carbon footprint and what have you. But one for household is not going to make a difference. So it has to be across the board. And where the weather's been like today, so it's like one of these films. God knows what it's going to be like tomorrow. It's so oppressive, and it's like the cloud is trapping the sun, the heat down, and it's quite frightening, really. I wouldn't like to many days like this or tomorrow. So something has to be done.
Emma, you're a fan of the heat, though, aren't you? You love it. You were saying earlier, this is your sort of weather.
Yeah, I love it. I do a lot of the time. Don't forget, like when it gets really warm, people kind of panic a bit and how hot it is, and that makes them just sweat even more. It's just I had all my blinds and curtains closed today. It got a lot hotter this afternoon, and it is very, very warm in the house. But no, I like it.
Yeah, is the climate change going on in schools today, Claire? Are we looking at climate change when it comes to school education nowadays?
I don't think they are as much as they can do. I think there is more that they could go down, especially in primary school. I don't know what they're doing in secondary, but yeah, there's so much more that they can do, you know.
Do you worry though for your children when it comes to climate change? Do you have it in the back of your mind that actually they might not have it as good as we've had it?
Oh, I worry about everything for them, really. You know, at 15 and 18, it's like, you know, I mean, you just go back. I mean, you're only a young sprog yourself, but you know, me and Rachel. Sorry, Rachel, you're about my age. You know, how things have changed. since we was at school. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Stop it. No,
It's like
keep
me.
bringing me up and I'm not going to speak. Not talking. I'm just going to, as I say to the kids, zip it, lock it and put it in your pocket.
But has it developed and changed a lot since you guys were kids when it comes to climate change? Has it dramatically got worse? Have you seen it in your generation get worse?
Can't remember that far back. No,
I don't think it had got worse, but I remember when I was a kid, it snowed every year, literally every year.
It did.
And now it doesn't, and it's like the summer's going into what is the winter time. It's weird, really, and then the winter's moving further earlier in the year. But it must have snowed every year when I was a kid.
See, I agree with that, apart from winter, but I do remember every summer holiday being hot. I do remember when I was a kid, the summer holidays, those 6 weeks off, were hot. Now, in the UK nowadays, we'll have this for about 3 days, and that's our summer over. That's it. We go back into rain and clouds and all of that. But do you feel like the seasons? We don't have seasons anymore. Do you think anymore? Sound like Fred Elliott, don't I? Anymore? Do we not have seasons? Do you think it all just rolls into one nowadays? And that's why the UK is so shocked and surprised when we have days like this?
How can the seasons roll into one? Because
you don't have hot summers anymore, Kerry, do we?
When it's autumn, the leaves fall off the tree. It's evidently autumn. Yeah. Then
Flipping nerves.
Winter, then spring with all the little flowers, and then summer when we're all moaning about the heat. So no, it's not. In my view, it's not rolling into one. That's a silly question. Next, please.
It is a bit boring though, the weather though, isn't it? It's a bit mundane. It's a bit usually wet and quite cool, and that for quite a few months, and then we get a dramatic bit of snow that stops the whole city, the whole country, and then we get a bit of sun that frazzles you, and you have to everyone covers up. But I can remember summers where I used to go down to Bournemouth for 6 weeks to relatives, and used to be there for the whole 6 weeks, going down to the beach. Every day was the same. There wasn't one day that was
lovely. It was nice summer, wasn't it? Nice summer weather.
Oh, nice summer weather.
You can't plan anything though in the UK nowadays, though, can you? Like you can't rely. It's like when you do a stay vacation, whatever they're called nowadays, where you go and visit somewhere. It's like I love the Lake District. It's been years since I've been there, years and years. It's when I was married. I went to the Lake District, and that was a couple of centuries ago.
Take you on a bit.
Yes, a couple of centuries ago. But everybody now says it, don't go to the Lake District because it just rains. Don't go to Cornwall because it's just miserable. Don't go to Manchester because it always bloody rains in Manchester. It's all just moaning about the weather nowadays. And I bet the thing is, I remember being a kid relying on those 6 weeks, relying on doing stuff in those 6 weeks. You can't do that nowadays. You can't.
I think if you've got like friends that are saying that to you all the time about change your mates, because if they're always going to put a dampener on where you're going with the weather, Nicholas, they're no good for you.
Oh, Kerry, it's so good that you're back on.
But Nick,
the worst time you could have got me when it was this warm. I get really even more rash than what I normally do.
But like Monday, Tuesday, right? We were having a heat wave. Wednesday, it's supposed to be raining.
I'm standing in it.
So our sports day.
Do you think we'll get a bit of thunder as well?
Yeah, we're going to get it all. Yeah. By Friday, it's snow.
Yeah. we just walked through a whole week of seasons.
Yeah. And then when we break up for them 6 weeks holiday, it's rain.
Yeah, exactly. But ladies, I want one tip from you each. So if you had to give a tip on how to keep cool in this hot weather, and I came up to you and said, Claire Browning-May, tell me what you do to keep cool in this hot weather. What is your one guided tip? I'm saying.
Don't want to know.
Go on, Claire.
It's just hydrated, really. I just like lots of water. Yeah. Sorry, Elaine. Lots of water.
Yeah, lots of water. There's many other bottles available. What about you, Keza? What's your handy tip of staying cool in the heat?
Well, I'll just say just get a shower or get a cold flannel or something. A lot of people could do with a shower anyway, so make it your time now to get a cold one.
Oh, I do apologise.
I'm all right. I've had 2
I do
showers.
apologise. what about you, Righteous Rachel? What's your tip on keeping cool in bed?
Righteous Rachel. I just like both of them, Kerry and Claire, hydrated, showers, and stick your feet in the paddling pool with your grandson if you've got one.
Exactly. Me and you sat in the garden the other week, didn't we?
Did we? What did we do?
paddling pool?
See Rachel a lot at the moment. We're spending a lot of time together.
He uses me, that's what he's saying.
Only because I need to support Age UK this year, so I do need.
Cheeky sort.
Do you want me to go, Nick?
But tell us what you guys think out there. How have you survived the heat wave? Do you think seasons have turned into one? Do you agree with me, or do you agree with Kerry? Also, do you think it's against human rights to make somebody wear a blazer? Do you think it's still important to have a uniform? My word, we covered quite a few subjects, didn't we, in that one topic? But tell us what you think. Polls will be on this week, so have your say as well as ours. Our next topic, ladies, is quite an interesting one. So the father took a beat poll, that's all I'll say, to Former to reveal all, explaining how his wife had made her daughter her own wedding dress, and it took 3 years for the wife to make. 3 years, 3 of their 4 children have each had a dress of their own for the weddings, but the final daughter refused to wear the dress but after it was made, which led to the father cutting all ties of money to do with anything towards the wedding. So, do you think, ladies, it is really important that parents do have their say when it comes to their children's wedding? Let's go to you first, Keza, because you've not had a child married yet. So what do you think? Do you think it's really important that you have your say on their day?
I wouldn't go in all guns blazing and say, I want this, I want that, because at the end of the day, it's their special day. It's got to be memorable for them.
But if you had bought something really expensive, so
I wouldn't. I'm poor, mate. I wouldn't buy anything expensive.
say like one of your daughters got married tomorrow, and they found this dream dress in the window, and it cost you quite a lot of money, but you said you would fork out for it. And then the day before the wedding, she decides to change the dress, and the thousands of pounds that you had spent on this dress, you didn't know anything about, and then you turn to see her walk down the aisle and she's in a completely different dress. How would you react?
Firstly, I'm going to act from my point of view. My daughter wouldn't do that and just change the dress behind my back and wait for the wedding day for me to see it. Secondly, if I'd spent $2,000, whatever you were saying, on a dress for her to wear, if I couldn't get it refunded and get my money back, she'd be wearing that dress down the hill. You wouldn't. No, she wouldn't. She wouldn't really. I just have to get rid of it. But I wouldn't. I mean, that's 3 years in the plan and doing that dress, and you can change your mind. Come on, that's 3 years down the line, isn't it?
Claire, do you think it's important though to have your say on your children's wedding? Do you think we can be? How do I say it? Can we become? So they talk about bridezillas, but actually, can we have parent villas that just want their perfect day for their child and it to be perfect and wonderful and all of that? That they become over controlling of the day.
I think it depends on the individual. The thing is, nowadays, it's all about money. You know, and if my kids get married, they've got more money than me. You know, I can't afford to lavish. You know, I'll do what I can, but you know, I think if they want that type of dream wedding, then as a parent, I will help as much as I can. But I can't, you know.
It all.
Yeah, totally. You know, and it depends what they want. If they want this dream dress that they wear once, you know, and it's £5,000, then, you know, you work for it and that. But, you know, because there's everything else to pay for, and times have changed because people want totally different weddings than, you know, back in the day. I mean, I can't say because I've never been married, but, you know.
I hired my wedding dress. And give it back. I didn't want to keep it. What was the point to keep it? Some people do. I know some people that have been married and have kept the dress, but me personally, I didn't want to keep anything like that.
But it's in the loft.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
You know, unless you do want to hand it down, but by the time you keep handing it down, you know, the child doesn't like it anyway because it's not in fashion or what. Unless you chop it up for a christening dress, that's what most people do. But nah.
But do you think it's true, if you're up a good point there, Claire, do you think it's true that the old-fashioned way of getting married needs to change? So, as you know at the moment, when I'm saying it like I know big parts of the straight world, I really don't, but I do know that when someone wants to take a woman in marriage, you go to the father, you ask the father's permission, then you go forward and do the engagement and all of that. There's the exchanging of rings, there's a walking down the aisle, there's the expectation of parents to pay for a wedding. Do you think all of that needs to be in the past and we need to be thinking more modern now when we come to weddings, when we come to getting married, when we come to all that jazz? Do we really need to ask the dad anymore for permission to marry the daughter? Do you think that's all a bit old-fashioned?
There's no hard and fast rules about anything, Nick. Everyone does their own thing. And when it's tradition. Some things are traditional, but they're not hard and fast rules. I got married 30 I got married in 87, and my father died in 83. I was 18 when he died, and so my brother took me down the aisle, and I was crying all the way up. I was blowing bubbles out my nose. I was sobbing my eyes out, and there's all the choristers were there, and they were looking at me as I said, "Does she want to get married, really?" And but the thing is, we had all family and friends do things. My husband bought half my dress with my mum, and that was a second-hand dress. It was about 250 quid, and it was quite a lot of money there. And then,
but did you only walk in half a dress down the aisle?
No, but my husband gave my mum some money to go towards my dress, so that wasn't traditional either, because my mum was on her own by that time, you see. And it was, and then everything was a bit different with it. We wanted to go to the night do, and we ordered a taxi, and a 56-seater came, 56-seater coach came. There was only 6 of us sitting on it. Looked right ridiculous. So mine wasn't traditional right from the big word go, really. But people make their own rules up. There might be just the traditions that sometimes follow, but not everybody follows every single one to the letter. And it's just how life is very diverse these days. So, you know, everybody chooses their own.
Do you think though, when it comes to children, Rachel and Claire and Kerry, do you think
Kerry?
when it comes to children, actually, when we think about children's films and all of that, and the children really believe in the glow of love, don't they? In the glow with, there's always, I don't know, Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella and all of those sort of love stories that whisk off the feet and they fall in love and they can't get enough of each other. Do you think, in a sort of way, we're setting our children up to fail? Do you think there needs to be like a realistic Walt Disney film about falling in love and about what love is all about? And love can be, it's not a walk in the park.
To be honest, the Disney films were a bit like that. They portrayed, didn't they, about all this fairy tale and stuff. But honestly, if anyone's listening, if anybody wants a reality check, just come to me. I'll surely disappoint you on life as a whole. And,
But again, though, when you start these fairy tales, once upon a time, it's not real.
It's not real.
You know, and they lived happily ever after. Not real. You know.
And all the princes and the males in the films are all ugly brutes. That's real. But it's the
I just can't, man.
I know he says, oh God, it was wasted. I'm getting too hot now. I need a shower or something.
But again, I think, you know, that's all though, Nick. That's all through like primary. When they get to secondary, they're a bit more tougher, you know, and they come into their own.
Well, I don't know, because what's portrayed on Love nowadays is bloody Love Island on the telly. I just call it.
Don't get me started. Yeah.
What it should start with is respect for each other, and you don't get any much respect on Love Island, do you? So respect, love, and honesty.
But that comes from your parents as well. That's learned from your parents, isn't it? So, you know, in a relationship, is teaching your kids, one, don't be unhappy in a relationship, because otherwise you'll spend years and years never being happy. They've got to understand the true meaning of being happy, of respect of the other person, and respect for themselves. But that'll only come from what they get taught, and you don't really get taught that in school, do you?
It puts everything onto schools. Schools are there to teach you and teach you the academic side as well as social skills, yes. But where are the going back to family and parents? You don't have to have a big family. You can have one parent, two parents, you have loads of parents, same-sex parents. If there's love and respect within that family, then the child is not going to go without much, are they, really?
The thing is, with society, they're putting too much on schools. You know, they put far too much on schools. You know, of course, I work in a school, but they do so much. Honestly, they do so much for, and you're talking literally from 4-year-olds up to 11, and they do the whole curriculum of life. You know,
but the thing is, as well, it did lead me on to like a question tonight about, do we expect too much from our nearest and dearest? So what I meant by that is, I had a really interesting conversation with my mum this week about, because she's getting on, bless her, she is getting on, but she's not at death's door or anything like that. But she talked about, I really worry about actually when I die, I don't have tons to leave you to, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have that. And then that got me thinking, I wonder if a lot of parents feel like that. I wonder if a lot of parents feel like, I've got to work hard my whole bloody life to make sure there's a pot of money at the end of my life that I can pass on to my children. And I know some people, not on this panel, not on this panel, but I know some people that have talked to their parents about how much they're getting when they die and what they're inherited to and stuff like that. But I had this conversation with my mum, and I said, to me, and maybe I'm being too kind, but to me, I was like, I'd rather you spend it. I'd rather you go off and do what you want to do before you die. Don't worry about what's left and what's there for me and my sister at the end of the life. You haven't created me to leave me stuff at the end of your life. I'm okay. I'm in a job. I've got money. Don't get me wrong, I'm not rich, but I've got money. But do you think there is an expectation of that nowadays? Do you think there is an expectation of being left something when somebody dies?
One, Kerry, sorry.
I was going to say, I think it's not I wouldn't say it's an expectation. I think it's more so the fact that when someone dies, there is stuff there, whether it's got a monetary value or not, there's stuff there that isn't it? So some of it, I don't know. I'm not like that. I'm not like that. I'd more so be not the monetary value, but something with the meaning. You know, you're going through stuff and you're seeing stuff, you know, that means something from, you remember that when you're a kid or something. But I do that. I work my backside off so I can have a nice house and my kids can live, you know, and I know when I'm gone, that's all for them. I've worked so hard that when it comes to it, I'll have a nice life. But at the
But
end,
what if your kids say to you, Kerry, so like I don't know, because I don't know your financial situation with friends, but you don't talk financially about anything to anybody, do you? I'm not just saying Kerry, I mean everybody. We're very guarded when it comes to talking about finance and money, especially when a new partner comes into your life as well. We're very guarded about finance and money. But actually, what if you do that and you leave all of that, and then your children say to you, stop doing it, Mum. Just stop doing it. Go out and enjoy it. Spend all your money. Go and enjoy what you want to go and do. Don't leave anything for us. You go and enjoy your best life. I don't want you getting to your death.
Well, my kids know they won't get any inheritance unless they look after me when I'm old anyway. So it doesn't really matter. I've already
Don't worry, Keza. I've got a spare bed. Don't worry. I've got a spare bed. I'll move you in. You can steal your loose sleeps from the bed. I'll put a laptop on your knee.
This is my last show.
But when it comes to Bridezillas, it did get me thinking about Claire, let's go to you first. Tell me an incident where you proper spat your dummy out.
You know what? I don't really think I have.
Have you not?
Seriously, you wouldn't believe it, but I am very quiet person, and I came from a family of 4 with a stepbrother, so there was 5 of us at weekends, and I was the middle one, so I was sort of always in the middle, so growing up I've never really, I wouldn't say I had a voice, because you'd already got, here I have a younger one or the older one that spattered at each other, and I would just be like sitting on the fence, and then just going through life I've been like the same, so I can't really recollect any time I've actually
what good girl you've been.
Well, I wouldn't say good, naughty but nice type of thing, but no, I can't, sorry, I can't off the top of my head.
What about you, Rach? Can you remember when you spat your dummy out?
What do you mean by spit your dummy out?
Well, like almost lost it. You keep your cool and then you just lose it.
No, I've never really lost my cool, really. I always use words to get my point across, and I do. I have to get research first. If I feel I've been wrongly done to, I have to research it first, get all my facts straight, so I don't look a complete wally at the end of it, and it's not what I thought it was. And then I go for the jugular. But I do it with words rather than not. I don't get really irate. But no, the one thing that really did tick me off once when I was younger that I can always remember was the walls of ears. Is when my brother took my rally shopper bike and gave it away to a chap that did scrap metal. He said, "You never, where's my bike?" And he said, "You didn't use it." I said, "You didn't even ask me." And I was 12 at the time. And he took my bike. I think he said. But yeah, that's come down. Yeah, so me and Claire Bowers then went and nicked his chopper. And we went riding on his chopper. So I don't think he ever found that. I think we dumped it in a ditch somewhere. So I got married back then, but I did it carefully, but I knew nothing about it afterwards.
Now, the favourite one I've been waiting for, because I bet she's got very many stories from Liverpool of spitting out a dummy. So come on, Keza, tell me a moment where you spit out your dummy.
I don't lose my temper.
What an absolute...
I'll agree with Rachel. I like a choice of words, but very different from Rachel's, and I can't repeat them on.
I can tell you one story. I can tell you one. I phoned her this evening. Phoned her. She never picked up the phone. Phoned her again. She answered the phone. She went, "I'm doing tea. Can you just leave me a second? I'm doing tea."
Yeah, I was starving. One of them I can remember. There's loads of times that I've lost my temper. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm proper raged anyway. But it was when I was in one of my last jobs, and some guy had come to the counter, and he didn't get the answer that he wanted to hear, and I got absolute mouthful of abuse from this young chap. I remain professional. I didn't swear, is what I mean by that. I didn't swear, but I stood up at the desk and I shouted right back at him, and I just lost it. I didn't swear because I know when to be particular. If I'm at work, I'm going to be professional, but I'm still going to tell you to get your backside outside now before I get it out myself, mate. So
told that really, really sensibly, because when she told me, she was like, she was giving a load of this, and she was like that. Yeah, carry on.
I was. That's what I said. Carry on embarrassing yourself, mate. All these people sitting around you. That's that. But I was screaming it.
I think
Whatever. I ain't got time for people like that. Do you know, at the end of the day, people wind me up. I'm an introvert. Is that the right word? Yeah, I'm an introvert.
Well,
people get away from me.
Kerry, whatever. But the only time that when I was same job as Kerry, and I've told this story to many of my friends, because I was doing like a shadow shift with housing. So I was sat on the housing desk just doing like a shadow shift, and this guy, won't name him, obviously, but this guy came forward, floods and floods of tears at the desk, thousands of pounds in debt, massively in debt with a council house. And we spent you sort of, but you're not at the same time, you're sort of timed at a desk. You can't really be hours and hours as a customer service assistant with someone at the desk, because there's always other people waiting. But we spent a good 45 minutes sorting this guy out, calling the housing officer down, setting up a payment plan with him to pay back the rent. I got welfare involved. They came through the door and sat with him a good 45 minutes. And we sorted it all out, and the housing officer waved him off, and off they went, and all sorted then, thank you, can you just sign this and this and all that? And he went, oh, thank goodness that's sorted, because I'm going to Barbados next week. Well, my mouth nearly hit the floor. You have just walked into the council building, thousands of pounds into debt, but you can pay to go to Barbados next week. I had to walk away for 5 minutes because I thought I'm going to say something really unprofessional here. But that was my nearly lose it sort of challenge. But tell us out there if you've ever lost it. Have you ever spat your dummy out? Do you think that parents, it's still old-fashioned, do you think parents should have a say at the wedding if they're putting money towards it? Have your say. But our final subject is, right, ladies, I'm going to take you back to when you were 16. Now, Rachel, I know that's many moons ago, but I've got the powers to take you back to when you were 16 years old. You're 16, it's time for your prom, and you need a date. A young woman in Lincolnshire, there was only one choice to take to her prom date, and that was her 1-year-old son, Arthur, who she took to the prom with her. Knew right away that she wanted her little boy to help her to close the 5-year chapter of high school. It was so nice to have him with me to celebrate it, because it's a massive part of my life. She says everybody loved him and said how gorgeous he was. All suited and booted, the dapper toddler, 10 out of 10, the smartest boy there, says this young woman. It felt so amazing to have him with her on one of her most proudest days of her life. But it did get me thinking, ladies, about people having children really young. Do you think there's still an issue when you hear young people having children? Do you think there's a big stigma there still if somebody decides to have a child early?
No, I don't think there's a stigma as such now. There was one girl that I went to school with. She was 15. She was still at school, and she had a child, and that was quite new to hear somebody having a child at that age. I'm 57 now, so it's quite a few years ago. Yeah, I don't care, Nick. I don't care. You're happy with the number of my age.
I'm not bothered, Nick. I don't care what you say.
but the thing is, it's not going to be beneficial to the child. It's not okay, because it's going to, how can I say it, not ruin their life, but it stunts their life, it stalls their life. And if they can get back on track afterwards, then fair enough. But you don't know what you've lost until you've lost it, until you get a few years down the line. Then that child then grows up to be a late teen or early 20s and thinks, well, I'm a mother now, I'm a father, you know. And at that age, not many mothers and fathers stick together, but this one did, that I went to school with. And she became her husband, and they were still together until, sadly, he passed away a couple of years ago, actually, but he was on my age. But
since school.
Pardon?
And they've been together since school.
Yeah, since school. Yeah.
You don't hear that a lot nowadays, do you? You don't hear.
No, but that was a real love story. That was. But it's not going to be good for everybody. You know, but it was good for them because they loved each other.
See, again, there are a lot of children, and I mean, even now, all they want to be is to be loved, or to love someone, you know, and therefore, you know, children, as in 16-year-olds, do get pregnant, and not many of them do stay with the father. But, you know, they do get 9 times out of 10 somewhere to live. And that, but you know, me personally don't think it matters, as long as they are loving that child and bringing that child up, you know, in the right environment. And what that young girl did, I can't say I agree or disagree. I assume if she took her child, then she wasn't with the father. But that was, you know, she wanted to take him. And it's really difficult because, as I say, going back to when I was 16, can't quite remember that, but you know, that was we didn't have proms anyway then, do you know what I mean? And things were totally different then. So, you know, if I ever got pregnant at 16 back then, oh wow, I was still a child. I can remember I was still a child, you know? But,
and I think that there was I talk about my mum on here a lot. Honestly, I think I tell my mum's story more than I tell my story. But it was a stigma, wasn't it? Because when my mum came from a mum that had her at 16 years old, but it was a very mixed up, crumbly story, because when my blood father met my mum's mum, she was introduced as her sister, because the thing is, mum was born, and when mum was born, mum was taken off my nan, and Nan's mum looked after the baby, didn't even give a choice in the matter of, will you be a parent? She said to her, when you're pregnant, you can have that child, but I'm taking care of it because you're too young to have it. But I think that stigma now is gone, isn't it? That stigma of keeping it private and keeping it quiet and all of that. There's a lot more support out there for young people that have children now, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of support, more so for like families. Say like now, if my daughter, God forbid, got pregnant, you know, I would try my utmost to help her out. But you know, I'm a single parent, you know, and doing the best I can for those two now. But I think that's what parents nowadays try and do. You know, I'm trying to think of what I'm saying, you know, in case I say what I don't want to say. You know what I mean? Hey.
What about you, Keza? Do you think it's very different from when you were young about having a child and stuff like that? Do you think was you taught as a young person, don't have children till you're older, focus on your career, all of that, or was you very internal from the start?
I was probably more focused with my mum and dad both working, that I had to grow up and get a job.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing. And with children, I always wanted like 6 kids when I was like little. It was a thing. I always wanted 6 kids. My grandma had 8. I always wanted 6 kids. Never gonna happen. Okay. I'm at 3 and I stopped at 3. That's enough. But no,
Will you carry my child, Kerry?
Hey?
Will you carry my child?
Oh.
No, for starters. Yeah, I've just
I'd
calmed
just
down.
like to announce that we've kept it very quiet for very many years, but me and Kerry are in a relationship. It's been going on now for about 7, 8 years. She's very good to
I
me.
know. Everyone seems,
Don't even go there because your daughter even calls me dad. So don't even go down the road.
everyone seemed to think we were, so we just played along, didn't we? Obviously, for about 4 years. But no, I mean, I've visited. Bear with me 1 second. I've visited young couples who've had a baby that have been like two, you know, like there's like a parent and baby. Like complex for them to learn how to look after and just a general day-to-day. And some of them have really done really well. Others just are still like you were saying, they're still babies, they're still so young.
And it's about maturity as well, isn't it? You've
Yeah.
got to take into consideration maturity and how that works. Ladies, that brings us to the end of this week's Leeds Link. You'll be pleased to know in this heat wave and this heated debate that we've had this evening, we've had the temperature go even higher, well, especially with Gary on the panel tonight. The temperature's 100 degrees. But quite literally, it's the last of the series of a panel of 4. Series 3 we have ended. We close tonight, really, but join us next week for the loose party and celebration. And you're invited, where we celebrate Series 3 and how amazing it's been. And we come back in September. This Series 4. We're nearly there now at the halfway point, ladies, of Series 5. I can't wait till we get to Series 10. I'll be like so ecstatic when we get to Series 10. But can you thank my panel for this evening? The woman that always states, do you know what I mean? That's Claire Brownie May. The person that's always fired up and ready for debate, that's Kerry Gillespie. And Rachel, I can't even say it. Rachel, and that's Rachel Penny. Join us next week when it should be nearly all of us on the screen next week for the loose party. Don't miss out. We'll have alcohol and everything. So a few loose lips might be a little bit more open next week. You never know. See you next week. Take care. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.